Because we understand the COVID-19 virus, we can actually predict the future. What I mean by that is we can look at other countries that have already been in lockdown for a few weeks, and we can see what the progression of those weeks are with the COVID virus. So week one, in pretty much every country in the world, lockdown didn't happen. This is true everywhere, not just in Africa and third world countries. People didn't obey the lockdown. They went for runs, took their dogs for a walk, met each other as friends. In poorer countries, they weren't able to use their credit cards to hoard things in advance. They had to go and get government grants and then go to the shop. So it takes you about a week to settle down as a country into lockdown. So week two then is really the first week of getting the benefits of full social distancing and limiting our geographic spread. And what happens then is whatever the curve is that your country is following, you just keep following that curve. In other words, in the second week, you really see no change. And the reason for that is because of the incubation period of this COVID-19 disease. It takes anywhere up to 14 days, but for most people between 7 and 10 days to show in your body. So it only begins to show during the second week, and that's when things start to take off. So the week three of the lockdown is where all the action takes place. You have this massive explosion of numbers, more testing is being done, people are reporting more about the disease. And also sadly in week three, you begin to see the deaths. You see people who have the disease and then have the severe version of it, have to go to hospital, get onto ventilators, fight for their life. And those people who don't survive, well, it's 2, 3, sometimes even 4 weeks later that they eventually pass away. So week three is a disaster. And most countries, in fact, every country that's instituted lockdown has had to extend beyond that initial 21 days. I'm pretty certain that will happen in every country. It looks as if we need at least 6 or 7 weeks of lockdown. So we'll have to see in your country what happens with those extensions. Weeks 4 and 5, we begin to see a flattening off. New cases of COVID begin to slow down, but deaths still keep going up, of course. And then weeks 6, 7, and 8, we begin to see a falling off, ultimately to no more new cases. Deaths begin to flatten off as well. And of course, lots of people, this is the good news, lots of people show recovery. And when you've recovered from the disease, you also have some immunity. And we can begin to consider the ending of lockdown. That's not a prediction. I'm not telling you what you and your country and your government are going to do. That's up to your government and your country. I'm just telling you what's happened in the countries that have already had lockdown. That's the natural pattern. I'm not a medical expert, so I'm not giving you medical advice or opinions. I'm just showing you through the data and through the analysis of trends, which is what I do for a living, what I've seen in other countries and what I think you can expect in yours. It's probably not good news, I know, because it probably means lockdown is going to be longer than you thought it was, and we're going to only ease out of it even when it's finished in the end. And that might not be good news, but I hope it helps you to prepare better. The good news is that lockdown works. The epidemiologists who study diseases told us this is the way to do it. The countries that have done it have been successful. Lockdown works. Please stay the course, hold the line, stick with lockdown, even if it's longer than you expected. It is the way that we beat COVID-19.